सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मां ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु निराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवनहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ॐ नारायणं पद्मभवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तम् योगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं सन्तोषकं वार्तिककारुण्यवान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ इत्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ॐ इति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम्। We are starting now with the 6th chapter, थोड़ा आवाज उसको कर दो, of the Chhandogya Upanishad on the page 206. Here we also plan to cover a new commentary which is there for the last 3 chapters, which was not there for the first 5, but for the last 3 chapters we have the Srimad Abhinava Narayanananda Saraswati. That text also is there, so that also we will try to cover. And Narendra Puri Tippanam is generally very brief, it says, Om Yasmad Utpadyate Vishwam Yasmin Nanituliyate Tat Satyam Sarva Jivanam Sarupamiti Kirtyate. Om Yasmad Utpadyate Vishwam, that from which the Vishwam, the whole universe, Utpadyate, is born, is created. Yasmin Aniti, in which it breathes, in which it sustains. Liyate, in which it merges back. So that from which the whole universe emerges, into which it is sustained, it lives, into which it goes back. Tat Satyam Sarvajivanam Sarupam. Tat Satyam, that truth, that reality is Sarvajivanam Sarupam. Tat Satyam. So that is what we call the Tat Pada, from which the universe emerges, by which it is sustained and to which it merges back. That's the Tat Pada Ishvara. Tat Satyam, that will be told here. Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. That Satyam, the truth, the Jagat Karanam, Param Brahma, is Sarva Jivanam Swarupam. Is Swarupam, the true nature of Sarva Jivana, of all the living beings. Iti Kirtate. So in this shloka, Narendra Puri gives us here the very essence of the entire 6th chapter of Chhandogya, which is Tattvamasi, which reveals the oneness or identity of Tat and Tvam, Jiva and Ishvara. Going to Abhinav Narayananandendra, Yad Vijnanat Sarva Vijnanamahu Yachadvaitam Tej Adini Srishtva Tat Karyasmin Pravesha Jiva Sanyah Soham Satta Matra Rupa Paratma. The Tikakara meditates here. Soham Paratma, that Paramatma I am Satta Matra, of the nature of Sat. What is nothing but Sat? This pure existence, without any qualifications. Pure existence, without any attributes, without any qualification. That is the Satta Matra Swarupa. This purely existence, to be. Paratma, that is Paramatma. So that is what the Upanishad reveals. What's the nature of Paramatma? The Supreme Self, the ultimate, the limitless Self, is nothing but pure existence, Satta Matram. And where is that Soham, that Paramatma, which is the very existence, which imparts the existence to everything, which is existence, that is everything. In fact, even to say that it imparts existence also means that it is different from what other things are. That is existence, which is everything. That Paramatma, Soham, that is who I am. And who is that Paramatma? Yad Vijnanat Sarva Vijnanam Ahuhu. They say that by knowing which everything as well becomes known. Yena so ashrutam shrutam bhavati amatam matam avijnadam vijnadamiti. So hearing which everything becomes as well heard, thinking about which everything becomes as well thought of, knowing which everything as well becomes known. Knowing so, yad vijnanat, by the knowledge of which sarva vijnanamahuhu, everything as well becomes known. Yatcha advaitam, that advaitam, so one without a second. That's what it said, Sadeva Somme, idam agrat ekameva dvitiyam, which is one non-dual. Teja adini srishtva, having created the elements, beginning with Teja, the fire. So we will be told here, the Srishti of the creation is explained as consisting of three elements, the fire, water and earth. Fire is called Teja. Teja Adini Srishtva, creating the three elements, beginning with Teja or fire. Tat Karyasmin Pravishata. Then Trivutkaranam happened. These three elements combine with each other to form what we call the elemental creation. Tat Karye Asmin Pravisha Jiva Sanyah. in these three elements and the elementals, which are the combination of them, that is the karya, the product of that. In that, Jiva Sangha, this Paramatma, assuming the form of Jiva, entered. That says of identity, So, Yad Vijnana Sarvijnana Mahu, the knowledge of which they say gains or one attains the knowledge of everything. One who created the elements beginning from fire and entered them as Jiva, so meaning that Paramatma alone is Jiva. That's Sattamatra. So, that of the nature of existence, I am. Natva Shri Dakshinamurtim Jnanendra Guru Rupinam Chandogya Shashtavashyasya Vivruti Kriyate Aduna. Natva Shri Dakshinamurtim, saluting Lord Dakshinamurti, Jnanendra Guru Rupinam. To the nature of Guru. Dakshinamurti who presents himself as my Guru. Jnanendra Guru. So Jnanendra ji must be the Jnanendra Saraswati should be the teacher of the Abhinava Narayananandendra Saraswati, we presume. So in the form of the Jnanendra Saraswati, Yesh Dakshinamurti, saluting him, Chandogya Shashtamashasya Vivruti Aduna Kriyate, now is done or commenced by us the Vivruti, the Vivaranam, the explanation of the 6th chapter of the Chhandogya Upanishad. Says Narayananandra, Purva Granthe Udgithadi Vaishwanarantani Upasanani Uktani. Purva Granthe, up to the first 5 chapters, Upasanani Uktani, all various meditations have been presented. Udgithadi, beginning from Udgitha, Omitetraksharam Udgitham Upasita. So, meditation upon Udgitha. Vaishwanara, up to the Vaishwanara in the 5th chapter, these Upasanas have been presented by the Upanishads. Nachataihi Parama Purushata Brahmatvalabha. But even if you perform the Upasanas up to Vaishwanara, there is no Brahmatvalabha. You do not become Brahman. You do not become infinite. You do not become limitless. So Brahmatvalabha, attainment of Brahmatvam, attainment of being Brahman. In this case, knowing of course, but here knowing is becoming. The 10th man, knowing 10th man is becoming 10th man. And that is what every human being wants. The idea is that Purushartha, Parama Purushartha. The ultimate end that is sought after by all the human beings is to become Brahman, is to become limitless. And so even if you perform all the upasanas of Vaishwanara and attain the result that are stated there, then also you cannot become Brahman. So even in spite of those upasanas, the Parama Purushartha, the ultimate goal, end of the life, is not reached. Why is it so? Tesham samsarik phalatvad. Tesham samsarik phalatvad. Because the result of attaining even the Brahmaloka also is within the realm of samsara. A Brahma hunan lokaha punaravartino Arjuna. Here Arjuna, all the realms up to and including Brahmaloka also are subject to return, revolving. And therefore, attainment of all those realms also is within the samsara, within the life of the repeated birth and death. Iti, that being the case, tad nivritti upalakshita brahma bhava kamaya. Brahma bhava kamaya. So a person who is desirous of brahma bhava, desirous of becoming limitless, who does not want anything less than the limitless. Tad nivritti upalakshita. And so, what is implied by the nivritti. So, by the vairagya, by the tyaga, by the renunciation. So what is implied by the renunciation? When you renounce all the attainments up to Brahmalok also, that means what? That renunciation is what? Why? Because you want something even greater. So tan nivritti upalakshita. Brahma bhava. That Brahma bhava, becoming one with Brahman, is possible only when there is the vairagya, the renunciation or dispassion towards the attainments up to the Brahmaloka. Brahma bhava kamaya, for a person who is desirous of that Brahma bhava or attainment of the state of Brahman. Shashtadhyaya arabdha, Shashtadhyaya or Shashtadhyaya arabdha. This 6th chapter is commenced. Tasya purvagranthena sangati uchyate. Bhashyakara now gives sangati, the connection of the 6th chapter with the earlier chapters. Shvetaketu iti. Or as Anandagiri says, Vartishyamana adhyasya atitena sandarbhena sambandham vaktum. Same thing. Was stating sambandham, the connection that the following chapter has, now the current chapter has with the previous chapter. Pratikam gruhitva, taking the first word, first few words as pratika. Tam pratijanite. Bhashyakara here now proposes how first he is going to give the connection of the current chapter has with the preceding chapters. So now we can read the Bhashya. Shvetaketurha Arune Asa Ityadi Adhyaya Sambandha. So 6th chapter begins with these words, Shvetaketur Haruneya Asa. There was one named Shvetaketu who was the son of Arune, the grandson of Aruna, and son of Aruneya. So Aruna is the grandfather, Aruna is the son, then is father of Shvetaketu, Aruneya is Shvetaketu, the grandson of Aruna. There was Shvetaketu, the grandson of Aruna. Ityadi Adhyaya Sambandha. Adhyaya, this chapter, beginning with these words, Sambandha, the relationship is now being stated. Says the Narayananandra, Ityade Adhyasasya Sangati Uchyate Sheshaha. Bhashyakara has not stated these words, Ityadhyayasya Sambandha. So Uchyate, Sangati or Sambandha. The connection of this chapter, beginning these words, is now being stated. Tameva prakatayan prasamam trutiyena adhyayena asya sambandham kathayate. Bhashyakara first of all gives us sambandha, the connection that the 6th chapter has with the 3rd chapter. Or, as Narayananandra says, Tatra tat teja asrujata ityadi srushtyam paryalochanaya trutiya adhyayana sambandham aha. So which part of the 6th chapter is related to the 3rd chapter? Which part of the 6th chapter we are doing is connected to the 3rd chapter? Tat teja asrujata. We told how Brahman deliberated and created teja, the element fire. Ityadi srushtiyamsha. So 6th chapter also elaborately describes the srushti, the creation. In fact, First of all, we are told what is Tatpada. In Tattvamasi, what is Tat? Jagat Karanam. That which is the cause of the creation, the Upadana Karanam, the material cause, and also the Nimitta Karanam, which is the Atma, the very self of the whole universe. So, universal self. Brahman, Jagat Karanam, is a universal self, and Tatpada is first presented. So, this is one Upanishad which presents Tatpada much more elaborately than even Tvampada. Otherwise, basically, Upanishads are centered on Tvampada. But here, the Tatpada is described very elaborately. And the description of creation starts with Tat Teja Asujata, that created, that Brahman created Teja, created the element fire, ityadi Srishtiyamsha Paryalochanaya. So when you look at the Srishtiyamsha, that part of the 6th chapter which describes Srishti or creation, you can say how this chapter is connected to the 3rd chapter. Sarvam Bhashyakara says, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma Tajjala Ityuktam Katham Tasmad Jagadidam Jayate Tasminnev cha liyate aniti cha tenaiva ittetad vaktavyam. So while we are studying the 3rd chapter, if you open the page 111 of this book, says, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma Tajjalan Shanta Upasita. Sarvam Khalu, Sarvamidam Khalu Brahma. All this indeed is Brahma. Tajjalan, what's the nature of Brahma? Tajjalan. Tajja, Talla, Tadan. That from which is the birth of the universe, by which the universe is sustained, and which the universe merges back, Tajjalan. That is Brahman. And that's what there is. Iti. Keeping that in mind, Shantaha, the mind becomes calm. So when you explain, we already discussed this. So when you deliberate upon this fact, or see this fact, that what is Brahman? Whatever is the manifestation of Brahman alone, there is nothing but Brahman. All changes are only superficial. In the core, everything is Paramatma, everything is Purnam, everything is beautiful, everything is whatever you want to call it. Everything is limitless, everything is love, everything is happiness, everything is joy. Shantaha. Ashanti, the agitations of mind, are created only because of giving reality to differences that exist. But when you see the non-difference, that truth which is absolutely the same, the most common denominator, all the differences subside, mind becomes quiet. Upasita, with that calm or quiet mind, may one meditate. So interesting that Brahman is presented as Tajjalan, from which there is Janma, in which there is Laya, by which there is An. So that's the creation is mentioned there so briefly, that's all. So Bhashyakara says, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma Tajjalaniti Uktam. So this is what has been stated in the 3rd chapter. Now, Tajjalan, look at the Saraswati Tika. Tatra Shandilya Vidya Angatvena Shanda Upasiti Samam Vidhaya. This is called Shandilya Vidya. This was the meditation which was prescribed by sage Shandilya. As Anga, as a part of the meditation, it is necessary that the mind should become quiet. So quietening the mind is very much the part of the meditation. So Vidyangatvena, as anga or as an essential part of that meditation, the calming of the mind is important. It is shamam vidhaya. So Chandogya Rishi, the Upanishad also vidhaya, enjoins shama, enjoins the quietude of the mind as a necessary requirement for meditation. Tadartham, how to make the mind calm? Tadartham, for that purpose, for the purpose of calming the mind. Sarvasya brahmatvena tanmatratvat. Sarvasya brahmajatvena, inasmuch as everything is born of Brahman, tanmatratvat. So all the ornaments born of gold are nothing but gold. All the pots and pans born of clay are nothing but clay. Similarly also, the universe born of Brahman is nothing but Brahman. Ekasmin vastuni ragadi asambhavad. In fact, that's myself, because I am also born of Brahman. I am also Brahman. And everything is Brahman. What is Brahman? What is the self? Ekasmin vastuni ragadi asambhavad. In one, in the self, there cannot be raga or dvesha. I cannot have attachment or aversion for myself. Aversion always is in respect to attachment and vice versa. I cannot have attachment unless I have aversion for somewhere, and I cannot have aversion unless I have attachment for something else. In the self, that requires two. I can have attachment of something that is beneficial to me. I cannot have aversion for something that is hurtful to me. But I cannot be beneficial or hurtful to me. Therefore, there cannot raga or dvesha cannot be there for the very self. Ekasmin vastuni ragadi asambhavat. Because in one vastu, in one truth which is the self, there cannot be raga or dvesha. Shamaha swataiva siddhyati. So here Upanishad prescribes a way of calming the mind. Anytime the mind is agitated, it can be calmed by this sarvam khalvidam brahma tad jalaniti. What is this Brahman? Born of Brahman. So what is this manifestation of Brahman, which is myself? All manifestation of myself. Shamaha swata eva siddhyate. Shamaha, the calmness of the mind, gets, accomplished by itself, by this very thought, by this very perception. Divaktum sarvam ityadi uktam. So sarvam khaluidam brahma. Why was it said? That very fact brings about the calmness of the mind. What is tajjalan? So says the Tikakara, tasmat jayate iti tajjam, liyate iti lam, aniti iti an. But Bhashyakara gives it more clearly. Bhashyakara says, tasmat jagadam jayate. So what is tajjam? Tasmat jayate iti tajjam. Tasmin neva liyate. What is tallam? Tasmin neva liyate. Understand that the case is changed. For jayate, tasmat jayate. Liyate, tasmin liyate. It is born from Brahman, it merges in Brahman. And aniti, tenaiva aniti, the third case. And then it breeds or it sustains because of that. So first the fifth case, then seventh case, then third case, understand. In each compound, the tad jalan, as it is a compound, complex compound. So tajjam, tallam and tadan. Tasmat jayate iti tajjam, tasmin liyate iti tallam, tena aniti iti tadan. Tajjam cha, lam cha, an cha, tajjalan iti vigraha. So tajja, talla, tadan, tajjalan. Says Tikakara, tat shabdasya saptam nindataya trutiyantataya cha parinatasya. Tajja is tasmat jayate. But if tasmad, the fifth case, cannot be applied to other two compound. Therefore, tasmad must be changed into saptami tasmin and into tritiya tena. Arthat lasthityopi anvayati. And that way you find the anvaya, that is now the connection of what? The creation, sustenance as well as the dissolution. Iti tasmin neva ityadi uktam. So Bhashyakara himself has done it. Tad jalan is explained as tasma jayate tasmin liyate tena aniti. Here also it is said, Sadayatanaha Sat Pratishtaha. Sadayatanaha, the whole universe has, all the beings have their abode in Sat. Sat Pratishtaha, they all merge into Sat. So abode into Sat means what? Tadaniti. So that Tadan is explained as Sadayatanaha. Tallam is explained as Sat Pratishtaha, they all merge into Sat. Tat Teja Asrujata, that created Teja of fire, that is Tajjam. Ityadivihi, Trivihi, Tritayamapi Yatra Uchyade. So by these three statements that you find in 6th chapter, all the three also are stated here. Iti bhava. So that's how the 3rd chapter, that sentence there is connected with the material of the 6th chapter here. So somebody says, what is stated in 3rd chapter, why do you want to explain it here? Why not explain in that place itself? Yadyapi tatreva tad bhaktum yuktam. In fact, it would have been proper to explain what is Tad Jalan in the 3rd chapter itself. But Upasana Prakaranatva Tathavi. Because that was the context of was meditation and not creation, etc. was not the context, meditation was the context. Tasya Vichhedo Mahabhut. In the Upasana Prakaranam, in the context of the chapter of Upasana, you should not bring some other topic. So all of a sudden we start describing creation, sustenance, etc. with Cheda. There will be a break in the thought current. So mind is now only thinking of meditation. If we bring creation, etc., then there is a Vicheda. There is a break in the thinking pattern. So in order that should not occur. It is Edadartham Nirvishesha Brahma Pratipatyartha Srushti Ukti. The Srushti is for what? Why does Upanishad describe creation? Nirvishesha Brahma Pratipatyartha Srushti Ukti. The statement about creation, the description of creation is for the purpose of knowing Param Brahma, which is Nirvishesham, which is devoid of all the attributes. So Srushti describes attributes. The purpose of creation is to describe attributes. So why are attributes described? In order to convey Brahman, which is devoid of attributes. Most interesting. Srushti is described only for negation. Srushti is described only to convey that it is mithya and that it is not real. For negation it is described. And so tasmadva etasmad atmanah akasha sambhutah. So from that Brahman, which is the self, emerge akasha and everything else. So just as from the gold, the ornaments are created, at every stage, the ornament is nothing but gold. So also, at every stage, creation is nothing but Brahman. Nirvishesha. So how Nirvishesha Brahma becomes the very cause of all the Vishesha? This is the biggest problem that every Acharya has faced. How to explain this creation which enjoys all Vishesha, all the attributes? Therefore the cause also must have attribute. How can you cause which contains no attributes and give rise to all attributes. That's how Vedanta is the concept of Maya. The attributes are not created, attributes are all appearance. If attributes are real, if creation is real, then it's a different thing. But all attributes are appearance. And therefore, the cause does not have to have attributes. So, Nirvishesha Brahma Pratipatyartha Srishti Ukti. See, introduction itself, the whole 6th chapter has been covered, So, Srishti Ukti, the statement or description of Srishti is for Pratipatti, is for the knowledge of Brahman, Nirvishesham Brahman, Brahman that is attributeless. Iti. Tadartham Srishtim Ashritya Upasana Vidhanam. So the Upasana or meditation was Ashritya, resorting to this creation which originally is meant for the knowledge of Brahman, but that same creation was used there for the purpose of meditation upon Saguna Brahman. Iti suchetum cha idani uchyadeti bhavaha. So again the creation is stated. Somebody may say, you already stated, why are you stating it again? But that was stated merely for the purpose of upasana, for calming the mind. Here it is stated for the knowledge of Param Brahman, Nirvishesham Brahma. Iti. Siddhanagari, etad vaktavyam tadarthoyam sashtodhyaya arabhyadeti sambandha. So this has to be stated. That Jalan was stated there. So that left a question in your mind. How is the creation born of Brahman? How is it sustained in it? How does it merge into that? That question remained. And therefore, etad vaktavyam, so Bhashyakara says, etad vaktavyam. So that was left unsaid there. Just a statement about creation was made, but then explanation was not stated. Therefore, anybody will say, how is it that Brahman is the cause and is the creator? So, the basics of creation, sustenance, how? Etad vaktavyam, that has to be stated, and for that the 6th chapter is commenced. Vyavahitam sambandham uktva avyavahitam tam adarshayati. First Vyavahita, what is separated? So Sambandha, the connection of 6th chapter, is 3rd chapter, remote, which first stated. Avyavahitam, what immediately preceded the 5th chapter. That Sambandha is now being stated by Bhashyakara next. Anantaram Chayati. Or, as the other Tikakara says, Aityadatmedam sarvam tattvamasi ityadi sarvatmya amsham adaya. So creation amsha is one thing. Then sarvatmya amsha. That Brahman is the self of all. That is also the theme of this chapter. It stated what? Aitadatmedam sarvam. Idam sarvam. All this says it's Atma, it's being in Brahman. Meaning Brahman is the self of all this. Tattvamasi, that thou art. Ityadi sarvata, you are that sarvatma. First of all, the whole universe, Sat is the Atma of the whole universe, and that you are. So that part of the 6th chapter is Sarvatmya Amsha, which reveals Sarvatmatvam, meaning the Sarvatmam reveals that there is one self. Self is one and non-dual. Amshamadaya, taking that part. So here this Tikakara explains to us with which part of the 6th chapter the previous one is connected, And that is much more elaborate than Anandagiri. Panchamadhyayana sambandhavaha. So there is sarvatmatvam. The state of being the self of all is stated in the 6th chapter, was also indicated in the 5th chapter. So Bhashyakara says how the 6th chapter is connected with the 5th chapter that way. Anantaram cha, Bhashyakara says. Anantaram cha ekasmin bhukte vidushe sarvam jagat truptam bhavate इत्युक्तम् तदेकत्वे सति आत्मनः सर्वभूतस्थस्य उपपद्यते न आत्मभेदे. Anantaram cha, after third chapter in the fifth chapter, ekasmin vidushi bhukte, when one vidwan, he is a meditator. So one who has realized the result of meditation. So when that wise person, in this case a meditator, who realizes the oneness of all, when he eats the food, sarvam jagat triptam bhavati. When the vidwan, when the wise person eats the food, the entire creation gets satisfied. Iti Uktam, that was stated in the fifth chapter. See, if you go to the passages at the back, page 202. So here it was stated, tadyad bhaktam prathamam agachet tad homiyam. So main upasana was stated. As a part of the upasana also, how eating the food itself also becomes part of upasana. Tadyad bhaktam prathamam agachet. So whatever food comes served to you first, tad homiyam, that has to be offered to prana. Sahayam prasamam ahotim juhuyat, tam juhuyat prana swaha iti. That first morsel must be offered with this statement, prana swaha. This is offered to prana. So prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, of that prana. Iti prana trupyate. So prana becomes satisfied by giving that ahuti or offering, oblation. Then says prana trupyate, chakshus trupyate. When is prana swaha, prana becomes satisfied or contented. When prana is contented, chakshu gets contented. Chakshushi trupyati, aditya trupyati. When the eyes are satisfied, the aditya sun also gets satisfied. Aditya trupyati, devhu trupyati. Aditya presides over the heaven. So when aditya is satisfied, heaven also becomes satisfied. Dvitrupyantyam yatkincha devuscha adityascha aditishthara tat trupyati. And when the heaven is satisfied, then whatever is presided over by heaven and the sun, all of them also get satisfied. Tasya num truptim trupyati prajaya pasubhi annadyena tejasa brahmavarchasena iti. And the wise person also so gets what? In following the trupti, the contentment of all of that, for the prana, chakshuhu, aditya, devhu, and then whatever obtains in the whatever is presided over by aditya in the heaven, all of them gets satisfied. Then the wise person also gets satisfied with praja, with progeny, pashu with cattle, annadyena, with the eatable food, tejasa with the luster, tejasa brahmavarchasena, by the luster of Brahma Vidya, he also becomes satisfied. And like this it goes on. Sayam dvitiyam juhayat, tam juhayat, vyana swaha iti. When the second morsel is eaten, he should say vyana swaha. So vyana is satisfied. Vyane trupyati, shrotram trupyati, shrotra trupyati, chandramas trupyati, chandra trupyati, disha trupyati. And tadanu, so dikshu trupyantishu, yatkincha, dishasya, chandramascha, aditishthandi, tat trupyati. So when he says Vyanaya Swaha, Vyana becomes satisfied. When Vyana is satisfied, the ears are satisfied, then Chandamaya is satisfied, then quarters are satisfied, then whatever please presided over by Chandamaya and quarters, that gets satisfied. So in this 5 prana, the entire universe is covered, Tritiya Mahoti, Apanaya Swaha, then Vak Trupyadi, Agni Trupyadi, Prithvi Trupyadi. And then, so Vak, so when you say Apanaya Swaha, then Vak gets satisfied, Agni presiding deity gets satisfied, it presides over earth gets satisfied, and whatever they preside over, everything on the earth gets satisfied. And similarly, Samaya Swaha. So, Manas Trupyadi, when the mind is satisfied, Parjanya is satisfied, and then Vidyut is satisfied, and then whatever is presided over, Parjanya and Vidyut are satisfied. 5th then says Udanaya Swaha, then Udana is satisfied, then Tvak is satisfied, then Vayu is satisfied, then Akasha is satisfied, everything presided over by Vayu and Akasha is satisfied. So when this wise person makes these 5 oblations, Pranaya Swaha, Vyanaya Swaha, Apanaya Swaha, Samanaya Swaha, Udanaya Swaha, that's the krama accepted here. How the entire universe also gets satisfied, that's what Bhashyakara is referring to. So going back to Bhashya, Anantaram cha ekasmin bhukte ekasmin vidushi bhukte. When one vidwan is bhukte, when he eats, Jagat Triptam Bhavati, how the entire universe also becomes satisfied or contented. Idi Uktam, that was stated in the 5th chapter. Tat ekatve sati atmanah sarvabhutastasya upapadyate. When is it tenable? When is it possible? When is it possible that when Vidwan, one person eats the food, the whole universe is satisfied? When is it possible? It's only possible when Ekat Atmana Ekatve Sati. Only when Atma is one, that when one Atma is, all Atmas get satisfied. Sarvabhutastasya Atmana Ekatve Sati Upapadyate. The self obtaining all the beings, when it is only one, then it is possible that this wise person who is identified with the universal self, when he is there, all the living beings are satisfied. The Atma Vede, if Atmas are different, Atma, a wise person, is different from Atma of others, it is not possible that by his eating everything is satisfied. So going back to the Tika here, we'll call it Indra Saraswati Tika. It's a very long name, for Narayana Tika. Panchamadhyayante Vaishwanara Vidyangatvena. The 5th chapter, the main topic was Vaishwanara Vidya. But Angatvena, as a part of that Vaishwanara Vidya, Prana Agnihotram Vihitam. It's called Prana Agnihotram. Agnihotra was performed, now Agnihotra is performed in the form of eating the food. Eating the food itself becomes a Agnihotra. That's called Prana Agnihotra. How the different manifestations of prana are satisfied. Vidusha bhojanam ashritya. So bhojanam, the very eating of the wise person also becomes prana agnihotra. Tadyad bhaktam pratham agachet tad homiyam. We already read this. Sayam prathama ahutim juhayat pranaya swayatyadina. So this is how the prana agnihotra was prescribed, how it should be performed. Tatra pranas trupyate ityadina. So when prana is satisfied, eyes are satisfied, sun is satisfied, heaven is satisfied, everything beside over sun and heaven are satisfied, etc. Then subsequently, yat kincha, vayuscha, akashascha, adhitishtata, tat trupyati at the end. So last was the Vyana, Udana, Samana, Last was Udana. So when that is satisfied, then Tvak is satisfied, Vayu is satisfied, Akasha is satisfied, etc. Iti antena vidusha bhojanena sajagat trupti ukta. So by those statements, it was stated how when the Vidwan eats the food and gets satisfied, then sajagat trupti, the entire universe gets satisfied. Iti ityartha. So how, when Lord Krishna came to Draupadi called him, because all of a sudden this, our Durvasa, thousands of disciples, all of a sudden appeared there, asking for food. Draupadi did not know what to do, so she called Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna, give me some food. Draupadi, I am sorry, we are all finished. The Akshaya Patra is all clean. Nothing is left in there. Otherwise, why should I call you? So something must be left. One leaf was left there. One spinach leaf or something. Say, there is lot of food here. Give me that. So Lord Krishna ate one spinach. And the Vishwatma Trupyatu made the whole Vishwatma. Everybody was satisfied. All these people, Durvasa and all the disciples also started belching. So that's how Vidusha Bhojanena Sara Jagat Trupti Ukta. By the Bhojanam of one Vidwan, the entire creation gets satisfied. So Bhashyakara says that Katham cha tadekatvam iti तदर्थोऽयं षष्ठोऽध्याय आरभ्यते कथं च तदैकत्वम्. So this was indicated that when the Vidwan eats the food satisfied, the whole universe gets satisfied. How can it be? It cannot be unless the self is one. So in what way? How is the self one? Tat katham tad ekatvam katham iti. So the question arises, how can there be the oneness of the self? Tadarthoyam, for stating that, Shashtha Adhyaya Arabhyate, the sixth chapter is commenced. Then Annagiri says, Adhyaya Tatparyam Uktva, Akhyayika Tatparyam Aha. And this whole Upadesha is presented in the form of Akhyayika. It's a story. So, what is the purpose of Akhyayika? What is the purpose of story? Bhashyakara says that Pitayati. So Bhashyakara says Pita Putra Akhyayika Vidyayaha Sarishtatva Pradarsanartha. Pita Putra Akhyayika. The story in the form of the dialogue between the father and the son. Vidyayaha Sarishtatva. So Sara, Sariyas, Sarishtha, So Sara means the essence. Sarishtatva, the most essential. That this knowledge is absolutely essential. Without this knowledge, in fact, all the knowledge does not serve the purpose. This is Tarana Vidya. Even if you know Sahitya, Sangeeta, Kala, everything if you know, if you don't know swimming, so Panditji knew everything. And this poor boatman did not know literature, did not know music, did not know art. His 3/4 life was wasted. Then he finally says, Sir, do you know swimming? I don't know swimming. The whole life is wasted. So this is Tarana Vidya. Similarly, Sarishtatvam. This is the most essential. The essentiality, the utmost essentiality of this knowledge. That without this knowledge, there is no fulfillment in life. For state, that is the purpose of the Akhyayika. So Vidyayaha Sarishtatvam. that Brahma Vidya is the utmost essential for stating that in the purpose of the Akhyayika, in the form of the dialogue between father and son. Says Anandagiri, Pita Putra Akhyayika, Pita Prativakta, Putrasya Prashta. Here Putra keeps on asking questions and the Pita keeps on replying them. Iti evam Veda, evam Akhyayika. So this is an Akhyayika, the story of the nature of the dialogue between father and son, where the son is the one who asks the question and father is the one who replies the question. Sacha Vidyayaha Sarishtattva Dyotanartha. But how does it show that this knowledge is most essential? Because Pitahe Putrahe Sartam Eva Upadishati Ityartha. Because the father will only instruct the son of that which is most essential. Because supposedly son is dear to father as his self. Father looks upon the son as his own self. That is the case, the son is to the father as dear as his own self. And therefore he would impart to the son what is the very most exalted, the most essential. So inasmuch as this knowledge is imparted by the father to his dear son, therefore it is the most essential knowledge. So with that now, we can read the first passage. Om Shvetaketur Haruneya Asa Tamha Pita Uvacha Shvetaketo Vasabrahmacharyam Navai Somya Asmat Kulinaha Ananuchya Brahmabandhuriva Bhavati Iti. Om, of course, beginning with the Mangalacharana Om. Shvetaketura Arunaya Asa. There was Shvetaketu, the grandson of Aruna, the son of Arune. Tamha Pita Vacha. Once upon a time, the father told the Shvetaketu, Shvetaketu, Vasab Brahmacharyam. Hey Shvetaketu, now you accept Brahmacharya. Meaning that you start studying the Vedas. So Brahmacharya basically is the Upanayana ceremony that always the teacher gives to the disciple. So in order to gain that Upanayana, one has to go to the Gurukulam. You go to Gurukulam and then the teacher initiates you. That initiation ceremony is the Upanayana and the Vrata is the Brahmacharya. And then the student is celibate as long as he lives with the teacher. So Vasab Brahmacharyam. May you now live as a Brahmachari. May you now live as a student, of Vedas. Navai Somya Asmat Kulina. Look, the tradition in our line of family is Ananuchya. Anuchya means without studying. Brahma Bandhu Iva. Brahma Bandhu is a relative of Brahmin. A Brahmana is one, Brahma Bandhu is a one who is related to Brahmana, but not a real Brahmana. So Brahma Bandhu Iva Bhavati. Hey, you should become a Brahmana, not just remain Brahma Bandhu. You Brahma Janati Brahmana. So when he is a Brahmana, only when he knows the Vedas, then alone he can be called a Brahmana. Otherwise, he will be so-called Brahmana. So there never has been tradition in our line that a person is so-called Brahmana that he must be Brahmana. He also must become Brahmana. For that he should study Vedas. For that he should go to the teacher and live there as a Brahmachari. So Bhashyakara says, one we needed to read on page 207. And line 14, Sarishtattva iti. So, that the Narayana explains, Tadekatve sati ityartha. So only when there is a oneness of the self that this becomes a most essential knowledge. Yadyapi idam asmakam na pratyaksham. How do you say that this is the most essential knowledge? It's not obvious to us. Asmakam na pratyaksham. To ignorant people it is not obvious. Tathapi parichinna atmarashi asmad drishtya trupti adarshanepi. So ignorant people do not get trupti or contentment on account of seeing the self as limited. Parichinna atmadarshi. One who sees the Atma as parichinna. Asmad drishtya. We who see the Atma as a limited self, from our standpoint, trupti adarshanepi, there is no trupti or contentment in life for those who see the Atma, the self, as a limited entity. Atmadarshi vidvad drishtya. But for the vidwan, the wise person, who sees the Atma in its true sense, true nature, Atma vijnana sarva vijnanavada. So how there is knowledge of all by the knowledge of self, idam pratyaksham. And so for the wise person, this is very evident. Even though it may not be evident to the other wise person. Sadhishtatva iti kvachit patha. Sadhishtatva or sadhishtatva. Sadhishtatva is what? Most desirable to be attained. Most essential to be attained. Iti patha. Okay. Going to Bhashya on the page 207. Shvetaketu iti नामतः हैति ऐतिह्यार्थः आरुणेयः अरुणस्य पौत्रः आस बभूव. Shvetaketu iti, beginning with this passage, beginning with the word Shvetaketu iti namatah. So what is Shvetaketu? Shvetaketu is name of the person, young man. Shvetaketu, ha, what is ha? Aitihyartha, to describe something that happened. So this is a description of something that happened, not a Kapolo Kalpita thing, not something imaginary. Ha means this is how it happened. Aruneya, Arunasya Pautraha. Arunasya Putraha, Arunihi. Pautraha, Aruneya. Asa Babhuva. So there was Shvetaketu, the son of Aruna, and the grandson of Aruna. Then Bhashyakara says, Tam putram ha Arunihi Pita Yogyam Vidya Bhajanam Manvanaha Tasya Upanayana Kalatyam Cha Pashyan Uvacha He Shvetaketu Anurupam Gurum Kulasyano Gatva Vasad Brahmacharyam. Tam Putram Arunihi Pita. The father's name is not stated, but Bhashyakara states that the father Aruni. Sometimes called Gautama also. So Gautama Aruni is a surname, you can say, and Gautama is the first name. Here Shvetaketu is the first name, Aruni is the surname, family name. Tam Putram Aruni Pita Yogyam Vidya Bhajanam Manvanaha. So father thinks that now the son has grown to age when now he is fit for gaining the knowledge of Vedas. He is fit for studies, saying that. tasya upanaya kalatyam ja pashyan, and seeing that his time of Upanayana also is now passing away. Upanayana, this thread ceremony must be performed before a certain age. And father saw that age is now passing away. Therefore, he called his son and addressed him. He Shvedaketu, Anurupam Gurum, Na Kulasya Anurupam Gurum Gatva. You choose a teacher. You choose a teacher with Anurupam, who is in keeping with the Asmat Kulam. So, Kulasya, Naha Kulasya. The teacher must be suitable to our kulam, our lineage. Because we come from a certain lineage, therefore we cannot go to any guru. You only must go to a guru who has a dignity equal to or greater than our lineage. Gatva vasat brahmacharyam. Go to the teacher and will live with him as a brahmachari, as a manavaka, as a student. Says Anandagiri, kulasya anurupa ityadi vasanat na kuladavasya gurutva vidi gamyate. Kulasya anurupam. The guru must be always in keeping with having the dignity of this kula. Kula dhamasya. You should not have a guru who belongs to a lineage who is lower than your lineage. He must be equal to or higher than your lineage. That's the kind of guru you must choose. Says Narayanaji, Aitikhyati Pura Vrittatva Devatanartha. Aitikya means that this is how it happened. Upanayana iti. So Upanayana kalam Kalatyam cha pashyan. Upanayana. Anyatha pravasanantaram punaragatya swayameva adhyapayati bhavaha. Bhashyakar answered this question. How come father himself did not teach the son? Why did father send the son to some other guru? Looks like father must be going away for a long tour. Those days people would go for pilgrimage, which would take years and years because they would have to walk all along. 12 years pilgrimage. So if he goes to pilgrimage and then waits for his pilgrimage to be over, then the son's time for the Upanayana would pass away, and therefore, had it not been the case, anyatha pravasanantaram punaragatya, otherwise returning from the pravasa or the pilgrimage, swayameva adhyapayat, the father himself would have taught the son. Then Patilomam chetad yad brahmana kshatriyam upayat brahmame vakshaditi. This is a dialogue between Ajatashatru and Gargya. Gargya is Brahmana, Ajatashatru is a Kshatriya. So when Brahmana, Gargya says to Ajatashatru, please teach me Brahmame vakshaditi. Pratilomam cha, this is contrary to natural order. Anuloma, in keeping with natural order, Pratiloma, the Guru must be of a higher lineage than you. Cannot be lower lineage. So Ajatashatru told Gargya that this is contrary to the natural order, that a Brahmana goes to a Kshatriya and asks for Brahma Vidya. Iti Kshatriya Upalakshita Hina Acharya Upasarpanasya Pratilomatvena Ninditatvat. So Kshatriya Upalakshita Hina Acharya. Kshatriya is the inferior Acharya. Upasarpanasya Pratilomatvena Ninditatvat. So going to an Acharya, going to a teacher who is inferior to you is contrary to natural order, was stated there. And then we say, Anurupam Kulasya. Therefore, hey Shvetaketu, may you go to a teacher who is fit for our lineage. Says Anandagiri, Brahmacharyam Adhyanartham iti Sheshaha. Vasat Brahmacharyam Adhyanartham. May you live there as a celibate for studying the Vedas. So Gatva ityadi vachanat Manavak adhinam Adhyanam iti suchitam. So Adhyanam, Veda Adhyanam, study of Vedas takes place only when you live with a teacher, not otherwise. So Manavaka is an Antevasi. And so, he is a religious student. You must become a religious student. And then alone Adhyanam is possible. You cannot be studying unless you are a student. That is a formality. You must go to the teacher, live with the teacher, live the life of brahmachari, and that is the only way to study the Vedas. Then somebody may say, Mahabhut Upanayam, Adhyanam cha, Shvetika, what does it matter? Oh, I will not be initiated. I will not study Vedas. So what's wrong with it? Ityadi asankyaha, iti asankyaha. So the father says, Nacha etad yuktam yata asmat kulinaha he somya ananuchya anadhitya Brahma Bandhuriva Bhavati Brahmana Bandhu Vyapadishati Naswayam Brahmana Vrittaha Iti Nachayetad Yuktam. So Shvetaketa says, why should you be initiated? Why study Veda? What's wrong with it? So Nachayetad Yuktam is not right. Yadasmat Kulinaha He Somya, He Somya, He Priyadarshi, Priyadarshana. Oh, good looking one. It's not proper that someone belonging to our lineage, Anuchya, Anadhitya Brahma Vedan, having not studied the Vedas, Brahma Bandhu Huiva, he becomes like a Brahmana. So, a relative of Brahmana, not a Brahmana. Bhashyakara says, Brahmanan Bandhum Vyapadishati. Say, he is my brother, he is my relative. So, this fellow will say, so he points to Brahmana. Say, he is my brother, my relative. I am not Brahmana, So, Brahma Bandhu, the like a so-called Brahmana. And so, na swayam Brahmana vrittaha. So when a person does not follow the lifestyle or the code of conduct of Brahmana, he is like a Brahmana and he has to point to other people as his friends, as relatives, etc. So, in our family, in our lineage, nobody remains like a so-called Brahmana who has become a real Brahmana by studying the Vedas. So says Narayanaji, Asmat Kulinaha Brahma Bandhu na bhavati iti uktam. Asmat Kulinaha Brahma Bandhu na bhavati. The one who belongs to our lineage does not remain a Brahma Bandhu, so-called Brahmana. Iti ayuktam. Shvetaketa says, why not? Somebody can be a Brahma Bandhu. Kasya janmandara karmashad. Because of past karma, it is possible that somebody may not study. See, children can argue all kinds of things, So young man can argue with his father. So what's the need of initiation? Why should you study Vedas? So then you will be Brahma Bandhu. All right. So why should not I remain a Brahma Bandhu? Janmandara karmashad. Because of past karma, somebody can be a so-called Brahmana, not a real Brahmana. Tatha vedasyavi sambhavatidasankya. So, raising the doubt, yukta pada adhyaharena tasya yuktatvam nishidyate that's etad yuktam, that Bhashyakara adds himself. That this is not proper. That somebody in our lineage, our family is like a Brahma Bandhu, like a Brahmana. Iti. Okay. So, this is how the first passage is explained. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Shanti Shanti Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om